Hello race fans and welcome to the Nürburgring Nordschleife for round 2 of the SRF Weekend Warriors Championship. Yes, you heard that right, we are taking this 105 horsepower car, which is about as stable as your X, and racing it here at the Green Hell. Buckle up everyone, this is going to be a fun one to watch, and you're going to get to see it all live on the Global Sim Racing channel, presented on the iRacing Esports Network. Hello everyone, I'm Samuel Ryman, and alongside me in the booth is Ryan Walker. Behind the scenes is our director Joe Peake, and he's using camera sets provided by Dougie Beard. For many road racing fans, the Nürburgring Nordschleife needs no introduction, but we feel it deserves one anyway. Here's a look at what makes this track truly magical.
Alright, we're in the GSRC SRF, so let's do a lap around the Nürburgring. The north curve kicks things off with a really difficult braking zone. A common theme you'll see throughout is to stay off the curbs. No time to show you a whole lap, so let's jump ahead to Hotzenbach. Braking, turning, and downshifting tends to make things sketchy in the spec racer, so push the entry into here at your own risk. Off of there, you've got a couple little S's back and forth before you're feathering the brakes yet again. The gearing is awkward, so it's a bit of a toss-up between third and fourth. Now you're at High Oaks, which will be a critical turn. From here, through fluke plots and the Swedish Cross, you won't be lifting, so a good corner exit is required for a decent lap time. The Swedish Cross itself can be a little scary with the big bump on entry, but make sure and hug the left side to set yourself up for the braking into Ehrenberg. Try to take a late apex on this diving right-hander to once again ensure you carry speed off the corner. After compression, you fly over the crest that leads into Audenauer Forst. The corners get progressively tighter and can really separate the brave from the truly skilled. Keep from clattering those curves, get back on the throttle, and next we'll jump ahead to the Spiegel curve. There's a bump in here that if you hit it wrong, the car can be sent spinning. But before you have time to dwell on that, you're chucking it into miss, hit, miss. With the way this car gets lift, throttle, oversteer, it'd be wise to keep on the gas just a hair at all times through there. Then you've got the braking for Defense Valley. It's incredibly difficult to take the proper line if you're pushing the limits. The big worry here is losing control since there's pretty much zero runoff all around it. Down the road we've got Bergwerks, which is another critical turn. For more than a mile you'll be climbing steeply uphill, so avoid screwing up your corner exit to salvage every ounce of speed. Eventually, at the top of the hill, you come to the famous carousel. Try not to pop out of the banking because you're likely to slide right out into the Armco. Then later, you'll be tackling Vipperman, which is a series of frighteningly fast S's that you can't quite take flat out. Coming out of there and into Ashbrook, keep in mind that the track tightens up in a surprising manner after the apex. It's easy to get greedy and understeer off. Then it's a double apex left-hander that needs you to hold to the left side of the track in order to set yourself up for Brunchen. Once again, jumping ahead, we slow up for Swallowtail. Lose your rear on the way into here and you're unlikely to come away without hitting something hard. Try to get back on the throttle early up and over the crest, and now we're at the mini carousel. You can take this corner faster than you'd expect, but try not to get a bad bounce on your way through. Then there's the ever-important Gallows Hill. It's just barely too quick to keep your foot fully in it, but the less you lift while still keeping it on the black stuff, the better the run you have up the Dodinger Hoa. Gather up your bravery because at the end of this long stretch is Tiergarten and Hohenrhein. You won't need to brake for quite a while, but don't let it tempt you into getting too greedy. Pass the pit entry, hold left, get as close to the Armco at the apex as you dare, and hopefully you've now finished a lap around the Nürburgring.
Even that shortened version of a lap guide right there is one of our longer pre-prepared videos that we show for this, and they give you an idea of how long it is. The cars doing their qualifying right now have only just finished their outlap. Ryan, why don't you give us a bit more detail about this race circuit?
A fantastic track, and a track that I absolutely love racing around. This track is known for hosting a whole range of different series in real life, but most commonly known for hosting the VLN series, which is formerly known as NES now, the Nürburgring Endurance series rather. And some information about the track we'll be using today. It is 12.9 miles or 20.8 kilometers in length if you prefer to use that. It has an amazing 154 turns according to iRacing. And the layout we will be using, if I'll try and get it right, is Industry Fatran. Hopefully I said that right, but if not, I apologise to any German people watching.
I wonder what that word means, to be honest. It's the typical Nordschleife. It's not like they run on... Okay, hold... Industry lab. Okay, all right. We have a German translator behind the scenes. And by the way, the Weekend Warriors is brought to you by Sim Stickers. Whether it's button boxes, steering wheels, or keyboards, they have you covered. And now, if you use the promo code GSRC10, that's GSRC10, when purchasing, you will get 10% off of all orders for the whole season. You can find out more at simstickers.co.uk. So we appreciate Sim Stickers for coming on and helping put this series on. We're getting ready for a great race today, and this race is one of many making up a championship. Two different driver championships we keep an eye on throughout the season, kind of a pro and an AM division, even though they all race together. But they're called S1 and S2, and here are the S1 stand-ins after one round. It is Naselli leading the points by 15 markers over Fred Desai. Antonio Reese, who would have got third place at your season opener at WeatherTech Raceway now, Laguna Seca. He gets it third in the points ahead of Daniel Sadro and Miroslav Juracek rounding out the top five. What does S2 look like after our opening round, Ryan?
So yeah, in the S2 Championship, it's still early stages in the season, but at the moment it's currently being led by Larry McLeod, who is fourth overall in the championship as well. So good to see Larry having a good run. Aaron Vegley sitting in second, a further 19 points back, and then Yuri Cox rounds out the top three, and Todd Gradwell being a surprise of the season so far for me in fourth, and rounding out the top five is Jeff Cantor.
Yeah, and I think we might see a couple of surprises today here at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. And let's have a look at our race details, Ryan, to give these viewers a bit more info about this race.
So, race details about this series for anyone that's tuning in for the first time this season. This is round 2 of 12, I should say. The setups for this series is open with a 35% fuel limit, so you can't adjust the fuel before the race, and it's set in stone. Race length for today is 40 minutes, and the points are rationed from 100 down to 25, and the incidents, as always, is minus 3 points for every 10 incidents, and as always in this series, you will get one fast repair. So if you wreck the car, for example, around this track, you will get the chance to get a fast repair and a new car.
All right, well, that's all the details out of the way. Let's get down to qualifying and look at the order. Everyone is absolutely tied on qualifying time right now, and that's because no one has put a lap time on yet because of the length of its track. Now, I believe the first car who will turn a lap time is the number 34 of Hugh Haycox, and he was one of the faster drivers in practice, but even that was an 8-minute 12, and this is Hugh Haycox on screen right now, coming up. I believe he's coming up to the carousel here. Yep, so there's a slalom right hand, and then that will lead into the carousel. There's some turns where you can be off a racing line a little around here, and it's not going to hurt you in the long run, Brian, but you definitely want to make sure you hit this banking in the carousel, because if you're out there on the outside, you're going to lose a whole bunch of time.
Yeah, absolutely. The carousel is one of those corners that it's rewarding if you get it right, but if you miss if you move offline ever so slightly on the corner entry, and you don't get on the bank end, you're basically just a passenger into the wall, or you run wide and just lose tons of time. But there's a few other, a lot more corners around this track. If you get it wrong, it'll bite you.
And there's something you don't see every day. A driver letting another driver go by on a qualifying hot lap. So that was Daniel Sadro taking over the lead, basically, of the cars on track. So Daniel Sadro will be the first one to put in a qualifying time. But the reality of the situation here is, Ryan, you only have enough time, really, to put one hot lap on. So it's better to get a lap that's only at 90% of your maximum than crash your car right now. You won't have time to get in a flying lap. So all these drivers realize they've got to keep this car on the track, which is hard to do. And in fact, Hugh Haycox just had to crash. so he won't get a lap time in. So yeah, all these drivers having in mind their P's and Q's if they want a good grid position.
Absolutely, this track is because of the length of the track and also the layout we're using. They, like you say, they only get one chance to get a lap in, basically. So if any of these drivers mess up, that's it. They're, I guess in a way, the one banker lap is basically just got to be up in smoke.
Now, normally it's hard to do math here at GSRC, but the math today is pretty easy. It's going to be a 40-minute race. These cars are doing laps here in over 8 minutes a lap. So we're looking at a 5-lap race. There's not many ifs, ands, or buts about that. And I believe they'll have to make one pit stop. They have a limited fuel cell, so your guess would be that would be around lap 2 or lap 3 that they'll all come in. This isn't really a track where you're going to want to gamble on fuel because you can't exactly coast it back around to the finish line, especially as we watch Daniel Sadro, the leader of the cars, who has who's coming around to complete his first lap time. Look at this long back straight you got. You don't want to be running out of fuel here because it goes uphill at the end of a lap.
Yeah, it's especially even though this SRF is not a powerful car, so it doesn't use as much fuel. You like you mentioned, Samuel, you don't want to gamble around to your fuel. I'll probably say from the races I've done around here in the past that you want to possibly pit with maybe, depending on what you use, liters or gallons of. For example, if you have 1 gallon, you want to pit and just to be safe and add fuel. But I reckon some of these drivers will try and maybe use a slipstream on that back straight to try and do some fuel saving.
All right, well, let's finally get some times on the board. Daniel Sadro will be the first to do one. He ran an 8-minute 10 in practice, so I'm sure a low 8-minute teens is good for him. Yes, an 8:13. That will probably get him quite high on the board, considering how difficult it's going to be. They're just put in a clean qualifying lap.
And David Gaspers is coming round to complete a lap as well. I think it looks like a good lap for David at the moment as he comes round to the finish line and only P4.
Well, that's not what we expected out of David Gaspers. Now, these people who got out of the pits early and completed their first lap early, iRacing might give them enough time to complete a second lap. However, any driver who has ran into difficulty or who came out of a pit late, this might be their one and only chance to get in a lap. So maybe David Gaspers will have one more shot. We'll wait and find out. But even if not, he should still end up quite high on the grid, just due to a lot of cars are sitting in the pits who may be opting not to turn a lap in qualifying at all, or maybe they tried but then wrecked and then knew that that was pretty much game over for them as far as qualifying was concerned.
I mean, even if you don't set a qualifying lap around here, it's not as good as you think you could do. Sometimes starting at the back of the pack around this track is not always a good thing, but with this size of field that we've got today, I think if you start at the back of the pack, it's in a way you're taking a risk with doing that.
Daniel Sadro is still our provisional pole sitter ahead of Michael Dobek as Wayne Walker just crossed the line, but he must have ran off during his lap because that didn't count. Still got Lucas Enderman coming around, John Unsby, Jim McGill, Brian Short, and Jeff Cantor all in a little pack trying to put a lap on together.
I'm just looking at the Spec 2 class in qualifying as well, and the pole man, or the pole man that's only set a time at the moment is Dominic Bureau. Just watching the Rodosty as well, and just looking throughout the field as well, Samuel. It looks like there's not that many drivers. Well, 14 drivers have set a time at the moment, but apart from that, there's not that many times on the board.
Yeah, and that's to be expected. If anyone puts so much as a wheel off during their hot lap, that will discredit their laps. There, we just saw a car go across the line. Noah Hambill just crossed the line. Hambayi, rather. He finishes in 15th place. He definitely won't have enough time for another lap. Now, what you will see in 20 seconds' time is iRacing will add time to the end of this qualifying session to give drivers time to complete that lap. Normally, in these league races, as Sanchez goes up to 4th, the league organisers will let that time run and expire because it's only, you know, a couple or a few extra minutes to keep us waiting. There you see it's added 12 minutes here at the Nürburgring. Now, don't worry, don't tune out. We are not going to use all of that 12 minutes. There has been some chat in the forums that they will advance the session, I believe, before those 12 minutes expire. It's just a matter now of when is that cutoff going to come? Are they going to give everyone a chance to complete one lap, or are they going to say, okay, everyone who's on a lap time now can complete the lap, and hopefully that should only take about 7 more minutes to see them all through? I don't exactly know where the cutoff will be, Ryan, but I know Daniel Sadro wishes it was right now.
Absolutely. As we're currently looking at Donald Fitterer coming down the back straight in the middle of a lap, and just watching Donald at the moment, it looks like a decent lap. So if he finishes it, it should put him somewhere round about, I'm guessing, round about close to the top 10 or just inside the top 10.
Yeah, so, well, we've had 17 cars turn a lap so far, of 46 drivers, I believe, are signed up for this. And I'm trying to see who the last car is that will cross the line who hasn't turned a lap yet, and that might be Max Grau, and he's about to come into the last sector of a track, I kind of call it now, still a couple minutes away from the finish line. Almost wonder if that's where they're going to call the cutoff. But right now we got Daniel Sadro sitting up there ahead of Michael Dobek. And the 5-lap race doesn't sound like a lot, Ryan, but it's still a 40-minute race, and the drivers are going to have to be on their toes no matter where they start to make sure that they get through this event cleanly.
Yeah, 5 laps. It sounds like a short race, but around this track, it'll feel a lot longer.
Naselli to the pole by 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, fantastic lap from Maurizio there. Yeah, Maurizio has been really quick around this track in the official series. But yeah, it just seems to have stepped up another gear as Ian Haycox is coming down to finish his lap as well. So just watching Ian, it looks like his lap will probably put him inside the top 6 or the top 7.
Yeah, Ian Haycox, in practice, he ran an 8:13.2. If he does that here, that would put him 3rd, but he doesn't. It's an 8:17. He's down in 8th.
Samuel.
Ed Doughty, the next driver to come around, and Max Grau would have followed him, but Max has had a crash. I almost wonder if a cutoff here may come after Ed Doughty, and Ed goes 12th. After that, we come to drivers who have already completed the lap, but we'll see if they let them all finish up their second run. Daniel Sadro will be hoping they do, to see if he can take pole back from Naselli.
Sadro just comes round the mini carousel, and this is one of the corners I find really difficult. This right-hander, then the long right-hander going downhill. It's just one of those difficult corners. You have to try and get it right so you can carry the speed down this back straight. And it looks like Sadro might have had a good exit, so it looks like a good lap at the moment. But will he be able to take the pole position back from Naselli?
McGill is the last driver on a timed lap here, so maybe they're going to let all of these drivers cycle through. And if they do, one driver who's going to hope he's having a good second lap is David Gaspers, because right now he finds himself back in 15th. And even though this is going to be a race of attrition, you want to... Okay, it might not be a race of attrition, but normally it is here at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. You're going to want the start at the front. Because that does help your survival. You know, if there's a multi-car incident, it's more than likely going to take place behind you. So Daniel Sadro is already going to start up front. The big question is, can he start on pole? Let's find out. Quicker, but not enough.
Yep, it looks like at the moment Nusselli has this pole position locked in, but as Tim van Dormelen jumps up to P3.
Yeah, Gaspers crossed the line. He does not. He must have had an incident point during his second lap, because it doesn't count. Jerry McAreevy jumps up to 6th place. We got Emil Orza and Aaron Vogel are trying to draft off of each other, trying to maximize their top speed. So Aaron Vigeli is in front right now. See if he's been able to keep it clean and get a time on the board. Yes, he is. He's down in 18th, though. A lot of drivers ended up being able to turn a lap in the end there, Ryan. It's only about half a field, 24 cars, but considering how difficult that is to do around this place, kudos to them.
Yeah, fair play to anyone that's finished a lap and finished in one piece, but looking at Richard Franco, he's clattered the wall somewhere, but he's coming round to complete his lap, so it might still count, but yeah, that car's a bit second hand.
Yeah, he may have collided the wall on his first lap, but if he did, he still ran into issues that lap too, because that one didn't count. So still just 25 cars of our 46 cars in the session with a time on the board. We've got Bob Kern, he's coming around. He hasn't put a time up yet. Obviously, even if these drivers have had an incident point and they know their lap's not going to count, practice and experience around here, you can never have enough of it. It's a difficult track to get every turn right, and Bob Kern, sure enough, that lap time did not count.
Yeah, the Nordschleife is one of those tracks that it's a great track, but if you push too hard, it'll bite. But as you say, yeah, the more laps these guys do around here, the more practice it is, and the more experience you get as well.
Wayne Walker gets a lap on the board, but it's not a very fast one. McGill did well, and McGill might have been the last one actually. So hopefully we'll see the session advance very soon, because we don't see any cars still out there on track. Bob Kern is out there, but we saw him complete his lap momentarily, so time will expire before he gets back around. So it will be Maurizio Nusselli starting on pole position ahead of Daniel Sadro. Tim van Dormelen will be starting from 3rd place ahead of Michael Dobek. Larry McLeod will start from 5th ahead of Jerry McAreevy, and then Fred Desai will start 7th ahead of Jim McGill. David Garrido Sanchez will start from 9th, and Ian Haycox rounds out the top 10.
Yep, starting in 11 is Emil Orza, alongside him in 12th is Donald Fitterer, 13th is Egg Doherty, and taking the Spec 2 pole position in 14th is Dominic Bureau, and David Gasso starts alongside him in 15th. Ramon Regalago starts in 16th, 17th is Hugh Haycox, 18th is Aaron Vagley, 19th is Kenneth Bailey, and rounding out the top 20 is Brandy Short.
And then 21st place will be Giulio Forcelin ahead of Lucas Enderman. Josh Unsby is also back there with Tom Gradwell and Noah Hambayi. Now, because the qualifying session hasn't finished, I think everyone from 26th on back here will be reshuffled once the session advances. The way iRacing computes here in qualifying, it's not always accurate as to where those drivers are going to start, but you'll get an idea of who's in the field. And hey, maybe it'll update now because they just advanced the session. No, they didn't. Yeah, the last driver pulled off. But you can see the names back here: Jeff Jacobson, Max Grau, and plenty of other names filling out this 46 car field. And these drivers might not necessarily be out of a running for a good finish, Ryan, but they're just going to have to mind their P's and Q's early on because there's going to be a lot of action in front of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like I mentioned, like I said earlier before, even if you're at the back of the grid, it's not always a bad place to be. And if you can keep out of trouble around here, especially around the track such as the Nordschleife, you could get a great result. And there's a few people at the back that might be worth keeping your eye on. People like Jeb. I was going to say Jeff Jigson, but he's kind of close to the back, but he's in between. But Nico Shook as well, another one to keep an eye on, and also the likes of Chris Murakami and Stephen Elson.
If you were in this race, Ryan, 46 cars, where would you feel most comfortable starting?
My one part of me says I would love to be at the very back, but on the other hand, I would like to be kind of close to the back, but not at the very back. But if you want to keep out of trouble, being at the very back is probably the best place to be. And it gives you a chance to kind of slow down if there's incidents in front of you. But with the fast corners as well, it's kind of you've got to have quick reaction times.
Yeah, it looks like they're gonna let the clock expire after all. There's been some chat of advancing the session, but only 1 minute left now, and then the session will advance. The drivers will get gridded up. It is a rolling start. Don't worry, they will not do a full pace lap. A pace car kind of plops down in the middle of the back straight that leads directly to the final complex of the lap. The cars will roll up a hill and get set for 5 laps around here. Now, obviously, Ryan, you do get a free repair if your car gets damaged during an SRF Weekend Warriors race. However, that's not something you want to deal with, because at that point you've got 2 options. You've either got to drive it back around to the pits, and it's difficult enough driving perfectly handling intact car around here, or you take a tow to the pits. And if you're taking a tow to the pits around here, you might as well go and put some lasagna in the microwave while you're at it and eat that, and wash it down with some ice cream, and then get back in your car.
That's a nice analogy. I like that. But yeah, it's you can get a fast repair, but if you take a tour around this track, you're going to be in the pits for an awful long time. And if that was me, I would go and stick a pizza in the oven, and also make a cup of coffee while I'm at it. But yep, it's the nature of this track as everyone starts to grid on the track.
So, yeah, here we are. All right, let's, like we said, we knew there was going to be a bit of reshuffling for all the drivers who didn't have time, so let's bring up the grid again. Here's the top 10, they're the same as they were. Top 20, oh, look, all these drivers. Yay, well done, they got in the lap time. Now we come to page number 3. So starting with 26th place, it is going to be Stephen Elson on the grid, ahead of Michael Shaw and Chris Murakami. Samuel Dick will start from 29th, ahead of Adam Bradshaw.
And just before we get on the way with this race, Sam, what's your predictions for this race?
Yeah, well, that's my. That's all right. We've still got more drivers here.
Yeah, 31st is Elwood Rothgrens, Bob Kernan 32nd, 33rd is Antonio Rees, Jeff Jacobson 34th. 35th is Yuri Cox, Nico Shook in 36th, 37th is Jeff Cantor, Paul Jackson 38th, 39th is Gary Walbort, and in 40th place is Max Groh.
Yeah, and then Richard Franco, who has been having a little bit of connection issues, hopefully he can make a start, will roll off. He'll actually roll off from 41st if he's there, though. Dan Barbic will be starting from 42nd place, ahead of Mark Coffin and Wayne Walker. We've also got Frank Radosti, Glenn Powley, and Robert Isle, probably in one of the more desired positions on this 47 car grid, actually, when it's all said and done. So you see they're all getting gridded up there. Some of them elected to pit start, and that's not an unwise decision at this circuit, to be honest. My predictions, Ryan, I do think we'll see a little bit of carnage early on the opening laps here, just because the tyres are cold, the car's unstable, the track is tricky. Even drivers who were out there practicing or qualifying have had like a 5-10 minute break since they've been out there on the circuit. But once that's all said and done, the survivors who come back around to the back straight, we're going to see some incredible battles going on down this straight, probably all the way to the final lap. And who knows what positions could be getting decided. We might even see some going on for the win at the end of this then.
Yeah, there's they're coming down to the final few corners, and yeah, that back straight, I think if everyone survives, I think that the back straight is going to provide some exciting slipstreaming battles, and possibly 3 wide, even 4 wide action down that straight, so that's worth keeping an eye on.
Well, everyone's hopes are high right now. All of the cars are in one piece. They're all within 20 car lengths of a race leader, and Mauricio Naselli has a position that they will all be hunting for. I've got to imagine with a 1 second pole time over Daniel Sadro that he's feeling pretty decent right now. He's just got to navigate his way through this first complex of turns, and he's going to be able to do that because the pace car is off, the green flag is out, he's on the front straight, they're on the loud pedal, and we are racing for 40 minutes here at the Nürburgring Nordschleife.
Yep, just looking throughout the field as well, it looks like everyone's getting through without any issues so far, but this is the section that everyone's dreading, these fast sweepers and the fast corners as well, and yeah, just most of the drivers want to be on their toes.
Yeah, well, it's going downhill, so you don't have gravity kind of helping you with the grip. In fact, it's taking a little bit of it away. So as they get into some of these braking zones at the bottom of a hill with these tall curbs, it can easily upset the cars, and we have some drama at the back. Oh, lots of drama.
Yeah, several cars involved there.
We just had one of our top 10 cars spin off, Fred Desai. He started in 7th. He's just had the single car spin.
Yeah, this it looks like the side possibly just lost it, and like I thought he would. He took a toll back to the pits.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because it happened so early in the lap. He probably could have gotten back out there and drove that around. I don't think he hit anything really hard. Top 4 are all over each other. In fact, there's a battle for 3rd place. Michael Dobek almost running on the grass to try and get by Tim van Dormalen here. So hard racing for the top 4 early on. It's still Naselli leading them around into this right-hander. And now they're about to go back up the hill. Passing opportunities are hard to come by around here, but lots of people trying. There's actually some banning offenders going on between Jerry McAreevy and David Garrido Sanchez a few positions back.
Yep, as both of them are alongside, and David gets through and takes a position, and Jerry has to slip in behind. But behind Jerry McAreevy, it looks like Emil Orza.
And what a start David Gaspers has had. He started all the way back in 15th place. He's now up into 6th already.
Yeah, we've been used to seeing this from David Gaspers in the past. He's done it before, starting right at the back of the grid and came through to win. So I wouldn't rule David out of taking the win in this race. He's judging by his pace during the week, he's been absolutely lightning fast around this track.
All right, well, the top 2 spread out a little bit. 3rd and 4th are still over one another, but there's no great passing opportunities coming up for the next few turns. I wonder if we can get a replay of what kicked off all that drama at the start. All right, so it's at the back here. We have several different camera views. This might have been behind where it all started. Find out as they went down the hill here, and you can see those walls, and no matter where it starts, there's not a whole lot of places these drivers could have gone.
Yep, as just looking now, it looks like it all kicked off, and and several cars were involved. I was trying to identify all the drivers, but there's just so many involved. It's unbelievable. The only ones I can really recognise is Jim McGill, Nico Shook, Bob Kern, and I think possibly Paul Jackson was involved in that as well.
Yeah, well, I've got a car on screen here who ended upside down. It even happened before this. It happened far up in the middle of the field, but that's where all the drama happened, all the cars at the back, and that's why a lot of them were trying to get in a good qualifying lap.
Back up at the front, Daniel Sadro and Maurizio Naselli are side by side, and it looks like Sadro might just get through to take the lead, but it's I think this is going to be who chickens out first, as it looks like Naselli chickens out and Sadro through into the lead.
Yeah, we're getting another replay of the wreck happen here, but we're coming back to live action. Yes, we have just missed a lead change, but it wasn't the most exciting one. Daniel Sadro got the slipstream on Naselli going through this back section of the course. A lot of high speed, a lot of drafting here, and honestly, Naselli might get it back from Sadro if he wants as they approach this right-hander. But no, it looks like he's not going to make anything happen yet. But even now, I would say a lot of drivers are still in this race for the win, Brian, because there's still that long straight to the finish line coming up, and it's easy to make a slipstream pass there.
Absolutely, as these guys are coming up to the carousel now, and there's Watson Sadro as well. He's slowly building a little bit of a gap to Naselli, but behind these guys as well, you've got Michael Dobeck battling away with Tim Van Dormelen, and also David Gaspers is now starting to get in the mix as well, as it looks like Jerry McAreevy and David Garrado Sanchez are going at it again.
Yes, a lot of hard racing up front. At the back, that's where survival's been an issue with that early pile-up. But a lot of these drivers who started up towards the top end of the field are trying to make it to the very top end of the field. And as we mentioned, Daniel Sadro has that, although he just had a big moment over the curb. He's still leading this race, he's still pointing in the right direction, but I'm sure his heart rate has gone up a little bit, and Naselli is still over the back of him in second.
And it looks like Michael Dobeck's had an issue, and I think he's possibly spun out from P3. But maybe just flatted that curb and it's unsettled the car. Yeah,
we'll get a replay of this one. A bit easier to tell what happened here than what happened at the opening pile-up of this race. It's a single car incident, and honestly, if you're going to have a crash at the Nürburgring, I think that's not a bad one to have. He got off that pretty lightly.
Yeah, he was a very, very lucky boy, as he's managed to get going again, but he's got slight damage on the left rear, and it looks like Dobeck's under attack from, it looks like Alan Vagley, but back up at the battle for P3 between Van Dormelen and Gaspers is absolutely on a charge at the moment.
Yeah, there's not many places where you can say you can go the 16th to third place in one lap, but Gaspers looks like he might be able to do that.
As they're coming up to the mini carousel now, and I think it's only a matter of time before Gaspers gets by Tim. And I think the best chance for David to get by him is on this back straight if he gets his slipstream. And it looks like what he possibly has at the moment, he just needs a good run in the exit.
Yeah, and I think we might be about to have a change for the lead as well. Sadro has Naselli over the back of him. Now, I wonder how well you have to time this, Ryan. If you make a move too early down this straight, are you just opening up an opportunity for the guy you just passed to pass you again before you get to the braking zone?
It's one of those straights that you want to get by if you get a run on someone, you want to go by them at the first chance you get. But it's with this straight being so long, if you pass someone, they can use a slipstream and get past you again. So it's one of those situations. What do you do? Do you wait until the end of the straight to make a move, or just try and go for it straight away?
Yeah, and I think Naselli realizes now, hey, on the final lap, I can't make my move that early because Sadro had plenty of time to just go back by him. But David Gasper's timed it nicely. He is up in 3rd place now. So sure enough, positions 1 and 2 have switched from the start. But the drive in 3rd started all the way back in 16th. And you can see that pit road is already busy with a lot of cars sitting there after having to take a tow up from the opening lap.
I'm just looking throughout the field as well in the Spec 2 class, and I believe at the moment it's been led by Dominic Bureau, and 2nd place in the Spec 2 class is Kenneth Bately. So Dominic's had a quiet start, but he's still leading the Spec 2 class. Oh, it's Aaron Begley, sorry. I had to check that again. It's Aaron Begley that's in the lead of the Spec 2 class, with Dominic Bureau in 2nd, and 3rd place Kenneth Bately.
Aaron Vagel is running 10th overall. He's also had a good opening lap, starting 18th. Who's our biggest mover? Looks like it might be Yuri Cox, 35th to 18th. That's a good lap. Some drivers got lucky getting through all the lap 1 drama. Some drivers not so much, but there's a battle for the lead again. Naselli's not waiting for the straights. He's trying to do it on one of the trickier portions of the circuit to take a lead from Sadro. And of course, one reason he might try and do this, Ryan, is if he thinks he's faster, he can try and use a more technical part of a circuit to try and drive away from Daniel.
Quite possibly. It's a brave section to make a move there, but it requires a lot of bravery and a lot of cooperation from the driver alongside. But both the Selly and the Sadro are sensible drivers, as I believe David Garado Sanchez has had issues.
We're going to get a replay of exactly what happened here. Oh, there was contact between it. Well, that's definitely not what you want. And, he tried to save that for the longest time, and unfortunately for him, it ended in a high-speed impact.
Yep, they're just watching the replay from above as well to see what happened, and it looks like he might have... Yeah, it looks like he might have just lost the rear end possibly, or got nudged from behind, but just looking to see if that's the case or not, and it looks like... Oh, yeah, he did get nudged.
Yeah, he got nudged, and then he tried to save it a couple of times, but was just too late. Looks like most of the field was able to make it around lap 1 without incident, especially, well, some drivers might have some beat up fenders from just being able to get through that early wreck. These two have obviously been the class of the field, Naselli and Sadro. Naselli hasn't been able to drive away from Sadro like I'm sure he would have liked to have done. And they're coming up to that portion of the circuit where we first saw a lead change last lap, down one of the high-speed straights. Now, what are we watching here? My guess is it's something not good.
So it's issues for Emil Orzo. It looks like he looks like he's been in a big incident, and just watching the replay to see what happened to him, and he just loops it round.
Yeah, he's running with some damage that would have been affecting his car already, and so that's probably why he took the tow there, as he realised his car was a bit too unstable to continue safely around the circuit. Look at the gap between the top two and David Gaspers. Gaspers is running him down quite quickly. He may have qualified all the way back in 15th, but I would be worried if I was Sadro and Naselli if Gaspers ends up taking the lead. Because, yeah, I think he would be able to easily pull away from them at this rate.
David Gaspers he's pretty much I guess we could call Gaspers an alien, but it looks like Sadro's got the run in the Naselli, but he's not trying to make a move. But I agree with you, if Gaspers catches up to these guys, he takes the lead, I think he'll pull away from these guys and just possibly leave them behind. But this is the Nordschleife, anything can happen.
Yeah, I think with everything going on right now, this is a bad time for aliens to try and come to Earth, knowing how War of the Worlds ended up. But yeah, right now, here we go with Naselli and Sadro making their way through the carousel. So again, the next great passing opportunity is going to be that long straight leading back to the final complex. But my question becomes is, will it be one of these two leading after all that, or will it be Gaspers? If Gaspers can just close up another second or so, he will be within drafting range, within slipstream range, and I think he could be leading at the end of this lap.
As yeah, the battle for P7 and the P8 at the moment is ongoing. It's really close at the moment between Michael Dobek and Aaron Vogley. And I've been watching Aaron for the early stages of his race, and he's been having a quiet race so far. He's just been keeping out of trouble, and I did see he was struggling a little bit before this race. But yeah, he's having a good race at the moment. Currently leading the Spec 2 class, and just currently running Michael Dobek down.
Yeah, and all the drivers running who were running around 10th or so, like he was at the start of his lap, have picked up a couple positions with trouble for Emil Orza, for David Garrido Sanchez, also trouble for Jerry McAreevy. So even now, drivers in the top 10 who look like they were running fine on their own, running into issues just due to the difficulty of this track. Now, our two leaders are all over each other, Naselli and Sadro, and Gaspers is closing in. And I think Gaspers might make it. He's just got to get within slipstreaming range by the time they get through the next 10 corners or so. And I think he might already be there, but we'll wait and see. Naselli and Sadra, I think, will want to get a move on if they want the lead at the end of this lap. Now, of course, you do also have to wonder, will we see pit stops at the end of this lap?
Yeah, it's quite possibly, as I believe has been issues for Dominic Bureau. Bureau hits the wall.
Yeah, we'll get another replay, what happened there. So something might have happened to him earlier on in the lap that damaged his car, and we just saw the end of it. But the leaders are coming onto the back straight now, so I think we need to come back to live action and see which of these three drivers, Naselli, Sadro or Gaspers, will lead at lap number 2. Right now it's Naselli in front, Sadro second, and Gaspers is definitely within striking range in third.
Yep, and these three guys have basically, David Gaspers anyway, has left Tim Van Dormelen behind. Van Dormelen's about 7.5 seconds behind, so it looks like it will just be down to a three-car battle for the lead, and it looks like Sadro's got the run in the Naselli, and he pulls out to try and make the move, but Gaspers, I think, if I was Gaspers, I would just be sitting here trying to save as much fuel as possible and let's straight and just save some fuel, but it doesn't look like he wants to do that. He just wants to close up and just show these guys that he's there.
Yeah, saving fuel's never a bad idea. Going 3 wide would be a bad idea, though, and so Gaspers doesn't do that, but he does shuffle Sadro back to third. So Sadro, who was leading in the previous turn, is now back in third place. Now, do any of them make the dive to pit road? No, none of our leaders do, but I wouldn't be surprised if perhaps some drivers further back in the pack who are running with a bit of damage might opt to do that, and David Gaspers is really trying to make some ambitious passes here. He wants to get the lead, and the reason he wants to get the lead is he knows if he's able to do that during the technical section of a racetrack, I think he's fast enough that he'd be able to pull away from the rest of them.
I agree, and I think it's only a matter of time before Gaspers makes a move. I think the best chance of David taking the lead is possibly down is going up that hill on the fast left-hander. If he gets a run, I think he'll try and make a move there, but David Gaspers, he's I guess in a way an aggressive driver, but at the same time he doesn't do anything silly.
So we do have some drivers throughout the field opting to come into the pits. Dobek was one of them. And actually a lot of drivers towards the back of the field making their stop now. Michael Shaw, Jerry McAreevy, and I think these are all drivers who have been carrying a little bit of damage, who are saying, hey, let's make my stop early on lap 2 rather than lap 3 so that I can get a good car again. Change for the lead. Here goes Gaspers into the top position by Naselli as they get a bit of a straight to make passes. Now that number 1 car will be looking to pull away from the rest of them.
And David Gaspers moves into the lead, so David's in the lead. Can he get away from the Naselli and Sadro and build up a bit of a gap before the pit stop? If he can do that, he should gain some time. But yes, this section they're coming up to now, it's one of the most trickiest sections I find around this track. It's just it's so hard to get right, and I think, but if Gasper gets away, I think I don't want to jinx it, but he could possibly have this race won.
I'll tell you, might be a driver worth keeping an eye on in the long run is Larry McLeod. He's running in 7th place right now, but he made his pit stop on lap number 2. So I'll be interested in seeing where he comes out when everyone else comes in. He made a quick stop.
And just watching McLeod as well, you mentioned that he just made a pit stop. I think the pitting right now is not a bad thing. I mean, if you look behind him, he's got a clear track, and if you look in front of him, he's also got a clear track. So it's a win-win situation. He can basically push as much as possible and try and gain some time to the people in front before they make their pit stops, and maybe try and jump them.
Right now he's in 7th. Here are the top 3. Yeah, 38 seconds back. I mean, surely he's just had a quick pit stop, and our top drivers will likely have a quick pit stop as well. And no reason to take tyres during a 40-minute race, especially how long it would take on these cars. David Gaspers is starting to pull away from 2nd and 3rd a tiny bit, but I think they're still within range where they can get his slipstream and try and make a pass on him, and that's the bad news for Gaspers. He really, I think, would like to distance these cars a bit before they get to this more straightforward portion of the circuit.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. The range for the slipstream is round about 2 seconds on the dot on our horse. So yeah, I think Gasper needs to try and build that gap as much as possible. He needs to try and get it to around at least 2.5 seconds, but I don't think that's possible at the moment, just because the Selly and Dan Sadro are still close behind him.
Fans of Donald Fitter may have noticed on the left side of the screen that he was losing a bit of time. He had a bit of a slip up but kept it off the wall. Here we go, change for the lead. David Gaspers not leading it anymore. Naselli making a pass, and Gaspers quickly back into his slipstream, trying to make sure Daniel Sadro doesn't get by him for second.
And it's not always a bad thing, Naselli being in front. I think if I was Gaspers, I would try and maybe just use that slipstream, use the slipstream, just try and save some fuel, maybe do some lifting and coasting early into some of these corners. I thought Gaspers was going to try and go for the move there as he clips the curb a little bit, and as they're coming up to the carousel now, which is a place that you can't really pass on, but it looks like watching Gaspers now, he's looking very racy.
Oh, and Donald Fitter has just retired from the race, and he had been running in the top 10, so unfortunate there. Time and scoring hasn't exactly updated yet on my screen, just because of how far away the field is spread apart, but I think we're having quite a bit of attrition. Hopefully you're able to keep up with your favourite drive on the left-hand side of the screen with our dynamic time in scoring there. If your favourite driver is Naselli, Gaspers or Sadro, well, you don't really need that time in column on the left-hand side. You can see them all right here. And if your favourite driver is Tim van Doren-Marlen, you're probably hoping that these three all take each other out, because he's having a quiet race on his own in 4th place.
Indeed. I'm just watching a driver further back in the pack in P14, Jeff Jepkison. He started towards the back of the field, and he's back up into 14th, actually 13th now at the moment. So Jeff's having a quiet but good run through the field and up into 13th at the moment, and I think that's his best race of the season so far.
Yeah, definitely one of the biggest movers, up 21 positions from where he started. Yuri Cox is also up a whole bunch. He started 35th. But then again, a lot of drivers who started at the back were also taken out in that early wreck. So starting at the back isn't exactly always the best way to go around here at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. All right. If your favourite driver didn't pit at the end of lap 2, they're probably coming in at the end of this lap, would be my guess. And will we see any drivers try and short fuel it and get the jump on their opposition?
As Gaspers is right behind Naselli now, he's absolutely hounding him. but he just can't get by. As Sadro takes a look up the inside of Gaspers, just showing he's there as they're coming up to the mini carousel now, and I think we could be seeing a three wide battle down this back straight, and it could be maybe three of these guys will pit at the same time, but maybe Gaspers has saved enough fuel to go for another lap.
That would be a heck of a lot of fuel saving he could pull that off. You've got to remember the fact that he has passed 13 cars so far this race, so I don't think that's been a lot of fuel saving. But bad news for Daniel Sadro there. It looks like he lost a lot of time coming out the previous corner, and he's not going to have anything to say about this battle for the lead this lap around. So Sadro will be hoping for a quick pit stop if they're all about to come in, because otherwise he might lose the draft of this top two.
And I think, I thought Sadro would have closed up on these guys very, very quickly, but it looks like he's about 1.1 seconds behind, so he's still just within that slipstream range. But Nacelia is going back past Gaspers, and Gaspers tries to tuck back in behind him for the slipstream again. But I think these guys are going to be into the pits in this lap, quite possibly.
Yeah. I think Gaspers wants to make sure he's the first to come into the pits. That's why he was so determined to get back by Nacelli here. And here they all come in now. And boy, it's a tricky pit entry, isn't it? So Gaspers has the lead. Whoa! Almost loses it going by the cone.
Oh, he spun.
No, he had the first pit box. That was a save.
Oh, that was I bet that woke David Gaspers up. That's for sure. That was a 10 out of 10 for style entry into the pit lane.
Is he going to win the race out of pit road? Yes, he is, and it's a long stop from Nacelli. He loses a position to Sadro, and those two, they've just got to hold station for now. If they want a chance to win this race, they need to run down Gaspers. Oh, Nacelli spins. That's not going to help him at all.
As he tries to get going again, and I think Nacelli was just eager to try and keep up with David Gaspers and Daniel Sadro, but just in his eagerness, he just lost the rear end, but he's managed to get going again, still in P3, and he's still got a gap behind him to Tim van Dormelen, who I believe has made his, I'm not sure if he's made his pit stop or not. He has made his pit stop, as I just had a quick look and just been informed. So Tim's still in P4 at the moment, having a good race, and if he holds on, this will be a great result for him.
Yeah, looks like everyone's coming out of the pits, getting through their stops. So there you see Dobek is up into 5th place, McLeod is up into 6th place, and then Haycox, and we still have a couple pit stops going on behind that, so the order there on back might shuffle around a bit. So yeah, David Gaspers made a very determined move there, a third pass, if you will, down the back straight that got him the lead going into pit entry. Almost lost it on pit entry, but fortunately for him, he had that early pit box. He was able to get it right in his pit stall. He had a quick stop, and now he's got a lead of over a second, and he's dropping the rest of the competition behind him. The only thing that could stop him now, I think, is, well, a mistake, because it's easy to do around here, no matter who you are, or if he didn't take enough fuel.
Yep, he's pulling away from Daniel Sadro slowly. He's got about a 1.7 second gap, and yeah, absolutely. I bet Mauricio Nacelli is kicking himself for that mistake now, because he could have been in with a chance to win this race. But looking further back through the park, we've got a battle between Yuri Cox and Jerry McAreevy going on for 10th position at the moment, and not too far behind in 12th, the man that I was talking about, Jeff Jacobson.
Yeah, well, Jerry McAreevy ran into drama earlier on in the race. He pitted at the end of lap 2, I think, to get his car a little bit repaired. And boys, these two drivers have had completely different races. Jerry McAreevy started 6th and has gone back. Yuri Cox started 35th, and here he is battling in the top 10.
And right behind Cox now is Jeff Jacobson, and I think Jeff might. I've watched a few videos of Jeff on his YouTube channel, and he's a consistent driver. I don't think he'll do anything silly if he gets a run on Yuri. So it's just, I think Jeff is just more than happy to sit and wait.
Another drive on the move. Antonio Rees has just picked off 2 cars on one straight away. He's gone by John Unsby and Thomas Gradwell is in the wall. Tom Gradwell running up in the top 15, just had a scary moment and he still hasn't saved it. He's out in the gravel now. He's at the back of that train we were watching. Scary moment.
As he manages to get going again, and coming up behind him is Bob Kern. As the replay comes up on screen now, and it looks like he's got the run on Rees and just coming round this fast left-hander. And yeah, I think Tom just got caught out by that traffic hitting the brakes in the middle of the corner.
Yeah, and then he almost saved it twice, and I mean, he did save it. He never spun or crashed, really, but he lost a whole bunch of time doing all that. And
Jerry McAreevy's managed to pull away from Jacobson and Yuri Cox, so these guys scrapping amongst themselves has allowed Jerry to pull away.
Yeah, Michael Shaw just had a scary moment. He's running in 10th place. His car has seen better days, his number 55 machine. It's got some damage on it, but it almost just had a lot more damage on it. Fortunately, he was able to hold on. He's still in 10th place.
And back up at the front as well, David Gaspers has managed to stretch that gap out to Sadler to 2.4 seconds. So Gaspers is slowly but surely pulling away and just building up that gap. And yeah, it looks like David Gaspers, but we're watching his pit stop, he managed, even though he had that scrappy pit entry, he managed to gain some time in the pit stops.
Yeah, so we're watching David Gaspers, who's pulled out the lead to over 2.5 seconds over Daniel Sadro, which wasn't that much at the start of his lap, so things definitely looking in David Gaspers' favour. As, believe it or not, they're already coming around in a way to start the final lap of a race in just a few moments here.
Yeah, I was just about to say, is it just me or is this race absolutely flew by? Because it's a long track, but when there's so much going on, it just makes it go by quicker. And yeah, it's been one of those races, a race of, I guess in a way, race of attrition, but not as much as I thought there would be, as there's been. I'm just looking throughout the standings at the moment, and there's a few people in the top 10 that you don't regularly see, like Jacobson I've mentioned, and also Michael Shaw, but good drives by people like them, and they've kept out of trouble, and if they make it to the finish, it'll be a good reward for them.
Great battle from 11th on back, brewing with Jeff Jacobson, with Yuri Cox and Kenneth Batley behind them. Don't think we've really mentioned Kenneth Batley at all today. Here they come into the carousel right now. So this is all outside of the top 10. But if any of our drivers inside the top 10 have an issue, which is a very realistic possibility, one of these drivers might walk away with a top 10 finish. So definitely a bit of bragging rights up for grabs. It looks like Jeff Jacobson has pulled in front of him, and in front of Jeff Jacobson you might get a glimpse of Michael Shaw, who we didn't catch on camera, but I mentioned earlier this lap he had an issue, and I wonder if we can get that 55 on camera, see how much damage he's carrying.
Yeah, I'm just looking at his car now, and the damage doesn't actually look that bad. It's just some slight dents on the front right, and that's about it really. But it doesn't seem to be affecting the Michael's handling at the moment. He's still keeping going and still keeping in touch with Jerry McAreevy in front of him.
Yes, as you mentioned, I think this is a track where you do want aerodynamics on your side. You don't really want to be riding around in a beat-up car, but right now Michael Shaw is making it work for him, continuing to run in 10th place. And that battle for 11th, 12th and 13th behind him has broke up a little bit though, so let's see if Jeff Jacobson is able to run him down.
Absolutely, as McAreevy and Shaw come over that little jump there, and they're just coming down to the final few corners before the mini carousel, and these guys have slightly dropped Jacobson a little bit in the background. And I've also noticed that Ian Haycock's in P7. He's had a quiet race and not been caught up in any incidents as far as I'm aware.
All right, and the final lap getting set to start already. Now, the drivers can't get too complacent though, because that still means they've got 8 minutes of driving left ahead of them. But next time, David Gasper sees the start-finish line. Hopefully for him, there'll be a man waving a checkered flag and someone holding the trophy ready to hand to him, because he has a 5-second lead over Daniel Sadro right now.
And I'm just looking throughout the field as well. There's further down the field to see if there's anything else going on. I can't really see anything going on. It all seems to have settled down as we're on the final lap. And I have to say, Sam, I've enjoyed this race. It's been fantastic to watch. And yet again, at the moment, we've been shown by David Gasper as why he's just such a master in this series. After starting far back in this pack, I should say, but coming through into the lead and just pulled away from Sadro to the pit stop in that gap, 5.5 seconds. Just an incredible drive. So, yeah, the battle for P16 is going on at the moment. This looks like Unsby, Roftrans, and Bob Kern, and this battle's been pretty much going on for a while. And it looks like Roftrans has just made a move on Bob Kern. He moves back across in front of him, and they trying to get the slipstream from John Unsby in front of him.
Oh, and Unsby is blinking a little bit. Yeah, it definitely seemed like Roscrans didn't want Bob Kern to go by there. He almost threw a block on him, which was an unwise decision, I think, on such a straight. But yeah, I can understand why they both want to be in front of Unsby with the connection issues he's having going on right now. Doesn't look like Bob Kern's going to win that battle. Roscrans holds on for now.
Yep, as they come through to the final corner. But yeah, I think this is the only battle that's going on at the moment, as Roftrans just runs wide a little bit but manages to hold it. And yeah, but apart from this battle, it seems to have quieted down a little bit as there's a car coming out the pits. I'm not sure who that is.
Yeah, that's Brian Short. He was running ahead of him in 14th place. Trying to work out how that happened. Surely he wasn't able to make 4 laps on fuel. No, he came in with a bit of damage. He had his regular stop on lap 2. He picked up some damage on the 4th lap, so just came in for fast repair to get him to the end.
And I'm just looking back up at the front as well. It looks like it looks like the podium positions are sorted, but David Gaspers is round about the middle sector, I believe, so he's kind of just in a no man's land at the moment. So he's all going well. He should hold on, then take this victory. But this battle's still going on between Roftrans and Bob Kern. But on the other hand, Roftrans has managed to pull away a little bit.
So of our latest timing and scoring update, we still have 36 of our 47 starters on the lead lap. Granted, some of them are 3 minutes, 6 minutes behind, so they might have had the tow or taken a fast repair or something along those lines. But that's the nice thing about this circuit, is it's so long that you can have a bit of trouble and still stay on the lead lap for whatever that's worth. It's not going to help you catch David Gaspers, that's for sure. Let's see if he can win this race by double-digit seconds, which is saying something after starting 15th on the grid.
And this battle will be for P9 between McAreevy and Shaw, as it looks like Michael Shaw's closed right up. They closed Jerry McAreevy down, and I'm not sure what's what happened to Jerry, if Jerry's having to fuel save possibly, but Michael Shaw, even with that damage, has closed Jerry McAreevy down. And he's putting a bit of pressure on Jerry, so just wonder if Jerry's just slowed down, like I said, to save fuel, or if he's just lost some pace.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the answer is there, because Jerry McAreevy was much faster than Michael Shaw last lap around. But as you mentioned, Shaw is all over the back of McAreevy, and I wonder if you've got to start favouring him for this 9th position, which might be the highest position that's really still up for grabs on the final lap here.
Yeah, as a ride on board is Shaw at the moment. Just he's not close right up on Jerry McAreevy. He seems to have lost out a little bit, but I think Michael's just playing it safe and just trying to get to the finish, as we're still in the middle of this final lap. But apart from that, everything's settled down. And yeah, 36 cars out of 47, did you say? That's an amazing record, or amazing thing around this track, especially the Nordschleife, just because of the walls are so tight, and if you make a mistake, it'll catch you out.
And Dave Gasper's still working his way around the final lap. And the pressure's still on him. As we mentioned, one mistake could cause you to drop all the way back to 36th place. And obviously he doesn't want that to have happen. But he shouldn't have any reason to have a mistake. There's no pressure on him right now with over an 8-second lead. He's working his way through the final, well, through the middle portion of a lap here. For him, I'm sure it's going to feel like it's going on forever. This is a win I'm sure he would love to bring home.
Yeah, absolutely. A German win on a German track. It's yeah, I think David will be delighted if he takes the win in this round. And David Gasper's after, I think he missed last week, so he's looking to kick off his season in a good, or in the best way possible. So he just needs to survive these final section of corners, and you'll take this one in the bag.
Yeah, well, our podium finish from the season opener was Nacelle, Desai and Reese. They all crossed the finish line within 1.5 seconds of each other, while Desai is going to be ranked 46th at the end of the day. Reese is running midfield the last time I checked. He's back in 15th. Obviously, Nacelle will likely be your points lead after the day, currently running in 3rd place, even with that spin early on. But Dave Gasper's obviously going to throw his name into the championship mix, it looks like, with the win, not from pole here today, but from the middle of the field, and he's definitely made the statement about who's the fastest driver around Nürburgring.
Absolutely, as he's just coming down the back straight now, and yep, pretty much this is he just needs to get home from here, and that he'll win this race. But Daniel Sadro's fallen right back to 11.6 seconds, so yeah, I don't know if Sadro's feel saving as well, or if he's just lost that pace as well, like he had in the early stages.
Yeah, no, as you mentioned, Sadro has lost quite a few seconds in the last portion of this lap. The good news for him is he still has a bit of time over Nacelle, so hopefully for his sake it's just been a little mistake, and he'll be able to bring it home in 2nd place. Still about 4 turns left when they get to the end of this long straight. But David Gasper's in the number 1 car, defending champion. It looks like he's going to finish position number 1 today, as he works his way through the final corner and takes a dominant victory here at the Nordschleife.
Yep, and oops, sorry, son.
Yeah, it looks like every position from 2nd on back to 8th is going to remain as is, and I think Jerry McAreevy might be safe in 9th place, Ryan. He's pulled away a little bit from Michael Shaw.
Yeah, I'm just watching McAreevy now, and he's just coming onto the back straight as well, and he's managed to build a bit of a gap to Shaw. And I'm watching Shaw. He was wobbling the car a little bit. I don't know if he's possibly on the cusp of running out of fuel, but Shaw, he's been closed down by Jacobson as well, so he needs to watch out as Jacobson's under attack from someone else. But yep, Shaw he just needs to get to the finish, and he'll have P10 in the bag, and McAreevy will have P9. So yep, just waiting for the rest of these cars to come around to complete the top 10 and the other places, and they will go through the results soon.
Yes, McAreevy should be able to hold on to 9th ahead of Shaw easily. There's a battle for 10th place between Yuri Cox and Jeff Jacobson going on for that position. It looks like Jeff Jacobson will come out on top of that. We'll see if Yuri Cox... Oh no, he's overshot the penultimate corner. Let's see if Yuri Cox can try and over-under in the final turn. No, he can't. Another good battle I noticed was for 18th place between Samuel Dick and John Unsby.
Yep, two of these guys have been going at it for on the last lap, pretty much, and they coming down the back straight. And yeah, they're all moving. They're moving around trying to break the slipstream from each other, but both of them are trying not to let each other get away. As one of them blinks out and then comes back. But coming down to the final few corners in this battle will be resolved in a few corners' time.
Yeah, it's John Unsby who's blinking a bit. I think we saw a little bit of that earlier. Samuel Dick has the nose out in front, doesn't have a desired line, and now he doesn't know where Unsby is because of a connection issue. And I think Unsby recognised that and realised, I don't want to cause a crash. He backs out, and Samuel Dick will take 18th. Oh, actually, what is that? 17th position, I think, because they got by Brian Short on the final lap. And Brian Short will finish in 19th place. Well, we got another battle a bit further back here. 26th place.
Yep, and these guys are doing the same. They're trying to break the slipstream, and I guess this is why I like commentating on this series, Sam. I don't know about you. It's just there's so much racing going on through the field. There's always a battle going on, and everyone, no matter what pace you're on, you've always got someone to race.
And it looks like Babbage will win that battle, and yeah, but honestly, Jeff Cantor kind of... Oh no, there he goes. He's overshot the last sequence of corners. So Cantor just knew he was letting him go in a bit deep there, but nice recovery from Babbage to get back on the track. And did he cross the line in time? Yes, he did. He still, as Cantor got 25th, Babbage got 26th ahead of cars that just went by him there. All right, well, I think that's going to wrap up the action here from the Nürburgring Nordschleife. We'll be back with drive interviews and full race rundown. Hello and welcome back to the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Now, I know a question some of you may have been wondering, or racers, who triggered that wreck on the opening lap. Well, that kind of ties directly into our finishing order. It wasn't David Gaspers, our race winner, but David Gaspers had just made a pass on Ed Doughty and Hugh Haycox right when those two came together and triggered that opening lap pile-up. So I think that probably contributed to David Gaspers being able to gain some early positions and not have too much pressure behind him, given that the field behind him was kind of wiped out at that point. But nice job from David Gaspers to come from 15th to finish in first place ahead of Daniel Sadro, 12 seconds behind him at the finish line. Naselli came home in third place ahead of Tim van Doren-Marlen, who pretty much ran fourth all race long. Michael Dobeck had a nice race to come home in fifth place ahead of Larry McLeod in sixth. Another quiet race award goes to Ian Haycox, and then Aaron Vogel was the winner of the S2 race, the number 247 car there, finishing in 8th place. Jerry McAreevy was able to hand off ahead of the beat and battered number 55 car of Michael Shaw in 10th.
And in 11th was Jeb Jacobson after that fantastic drive. 12th place was Yuri Cox. 13th was Kenneth Bailey, 14th was Erwin Rothkranz, 15th was Antonio Rees, 16th was Bob Kern, Daniel Dick finishes in 17th, 18th was John Unsby, Brian D. Short finishes in 19th, and rounding out the 20 was Amor Orza.
Yeah, and already we're getting to drivers, I think, who probably sustained a little bit of damage during the race. Chris Murakami, Tom Bradwell, Jim McGill, Dominique Bureau, Jeff Cantor, Dan Babich, Noah Hambayi, Nico Schock, Gary Walbot, and Paul Jackson rounded out the top 30. But now you're getting to cars that were like 5 minutes back, more than likely ran into trouble. Frank Radosti, Mark Coffin, and Robert Isle there rounded out 33 cars who were left on the lead lap, and then everyone else was multiple laps down or 1 lap down, basically over 8 minutes away from the race winner, so probably ran into trouble. Talking about the race winner, here he is, David Gaspers, 15th to 1st, and what was amazing about that is how much of that you gained on the opening lap.
Yeah, I think I got a little lucky that I think Jerry missed a gear before the start, so even before the last corner, I already gained 3 positions because the left line didn't accelerate. And after that, the others didn't make it too hard for me to get by.
Yeah, I noticed also that the big wreck that was triggered on the first lap kind of happened right after you. The 2 cars running behind you, you might not have even seen it in your mirrors, but there was a massive pile up. Did that make it easier, not having to worry about pressure from behind?
I don't know. I don't really think there would have been a chance for someone from behind to attack. I know that might sound a bit arrogant, but I was a bit faster than most others this week, so I expected to get away from almost anyone.
Okay, so then I'll bring it to the point of qualifying. I know it's tricky to get a decent qualifying lap here because of the lack of time that you had to put in the competitive lap time. What was it that really led to you starting down in 15th place? What issue did you run in that meant you were only able to run an 8-minute 20 in qualifying?
Yeah, on the first lap I tried to push, so I would get a fast lap right away. But then exited the carousel a little early, and that cost me a lot of time. And on the second lap, I just had a stupid off track that was completely unnecessary.
Yeah, and that's a shame that it led to you having a poor qualifying result there. But hey, it still made it exciting for us to watch you work your way up through the field and eventually win this race by 12 seconds. Definitely a dominant victory for you today. Congratulations. And hopefully that will give you some momentum to build on heading into the next round.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, well, that was our race winner, Dan Gaspers. 1 position, but 12 seconds down the road from him was Dan Sadro. Ryan, you've caught up with him.
Yep, Sadro finished in second place after having a terrific battle with Maurizio Narcelli and David Gaspers before the pit stop. But yeah, Daniel, I guess second wasn't where you wanted to finish, but it seemed to be after the pit stop you ended up falling back from David. Was that just a lack of pace, or did you just decide to take the cautious approach after the pit stop?
Yeah, thanks, guys. So, yeah, we had a really good race going up into the pit, and then when Maurizio spun right coming out of the pit, and he was 10 seconds behind, I was already outside of Gasper's draft, and so Vipperman I had almost crashed twice by then in Vipperman, and I just decided to calm down, just keep a second, and finish safely. And that was second was really the realistic most that I could have asked for anyway. So I can't be too unhappy about it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that was a fantastic battle to watch between you and Maurizio at the start. Was there any plans with regards to that, or was it just try and save as much fuel as possible before the pit stop, or was it just a case of you and Maurizio were so evenly matched on pace?
Well, I knew Maurizio was faster than me over the course of a lap. He's usually faster than I am, so I knew he was, and I knew the practice times. I was kind of hoping that we could keep in front of Gaspers as long as we could. So I think we were both working together. At least I was trying to work with him to keep David behind, but that didn't last for too long.
And also, with regards to that pit entry from David, when he got in front, what was it like? What was that like to watch from your point of view? We thought he hit the wall, but it just looked like he just got a bit sideways.
Oh, I did not see it. I was entirely focused on not crashing myself, so I didn't really see it. I'll have to take a look at the broadcast for that.
Yeah, before we let you go, Daniel, is there anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to or any thank you to?
Well, obviously, shout out to Stevie Ray for putting these all together. This wouldn't be the league without him. And actually, I have a lot of thanks for Gaspers, especially at this track. He's the reason why I was as close to the front as I was. So, but definitely those guys for sure.
Good stuff. Well, thanks for joining us in the booth, Daniel, and congratulations again on second place. And we look forward to seeing you on track next week.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, we got one driver left to talk to, and that was our S2 winner, Aaron. Aaron, you started in 18th place, finished in 8th place. A solid race, not only among the S2 drivers, but among the whole field. So congratulations.
Thank you.
How are you feeling about it?
Honestly, I'm kind of just surprised to have survived the race. I know all through practice throughout the week, there's one corner, the Vipperman corner there, that the SRF just does not like at all. And I think we even saw a few other drivers have some difficulties there. I personally, not in a single practice session other than the one before the race, did I make it through that corner okay. So I was really happy to just honestly get the car kind of unscathed. Had a little bit of a scare later on though, but otherwise I'm kind of just in shock, really.
Well, I went back. I was just watching a replay of the lap 1 pile up. You had to work your way through that. How would you rate that on your scary moments of a race?
Honestly, I think I just kind of expected that to happen. So, especially with how everyone was kind of going, even during just that little pace section at the beginning of the pace lap there, you kind of sometimes get used to that. It definitely was. I was definitely happy once we got out of it, though, because that could have easily taken us out if we were just in a different position.
Well, the Nürburgring Nordschleife certainly is a different racetrack to most. I know you're saying that you're shocked with how you're able to come out of here alive. So it seems you're satisfied with your finish. Do you enjoy racing here?
Yeah, Nürburgring's kind of one of those tracks that it's unique to the iRacing service as a whole. It's the longest one on the service, which is one of the things, but it's also just, there's so many different facets to it. There's a lot of different types of corners, a lot of different strategies that you have to have throughout the race. Different overtake points and places that you just don't want to be side by side at all. So it makes for an interesting track to kind of learn, I think, all of the different skills that are in iRacing. Not only that, but it's just such a fun up and down type of, a lot of elevation changes, all that sort of stuff. So it's just a fun track to drive.
We go to Donington next week, so that's going to be obviously a completely different circuit to this, but we wish you the best of luck there, and congrats on your win in the S2 class today.
Yep, thank you very much.
Well, Ryan, Aaron said it just there. This track certainly is different to a lot of the ones out there. Always puts on a unique show, and today we got to see a little bit of everything.
Yeah, that was a fantastic race to watch this afternoon. Yeah, there was several incidents, especially that big one we had at the start of the race. But apart from that, I think it was great racing, and we've seen some people in the top 10 that we don't normally see. So again, the Nordschleife springing a few surprises.
Yep, absolutely. And we'll be back next week from Donington to see if we see more surprises there. We would like to thank simstickers.co.uk and the iRacing Esports Network for making this broadcast possible today. Additional thanks goes out to the companies that provide the software and hardware that you will see in a moment listed on your screen. Also, so thanks to Junalond, who provides us with our music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the team today, Ryan, Joe and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check us out on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at a Global Sim Racing Channel, or Instagram at GSRC_Gram. Our next race is the same time next week from Donington, so be sure to subscribe to the iRacing Esports Network so that you don't miss that race and you don't miss any of the other races coming up. We also have upcoming races for our other series listed on your screen, so be sure to check those out, mark them down on your calendar, and don't miss another second of exciting racing action. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and I'll see you on the track.